This is the kitchen that came with the house. Perfectly functional, solid oak cabinets, granite countertops, and plenty of storage. But let's be honest, it leans a little more 1990s builder grade than it does modern young couple with big style and even bigger dreams. So what do you do when you move into a new place and the kitchen just doesn't match your personality? Well, if you're lucky, your mom happens to be a furniture refinisher who doesn't mind packing up her tools and flying across country to help. I'm Annie, and this time I traveled from Grand Forks, North Dakota, all the way to Vancouver, Washington, to help my son and his new wife give their kitchen the fresh start it deserves. Let's get to work. Most of the time, I'm in my workshop working solo, just me, my tools, and a playlist. But this project was a little different. I got to work side by side with my son and his wife, and honestly, it was so much fun. There's something pretty special about sharing what you love with the people you love. We sanded, taped, primed, and laughed our way through this transformation together. And well, I may be the one with the paintbrush experience. Let's just say they held their own. Now listen, there was lots of sanding, like endless sanding, then painting, then more sanding, and yep, more painting. Rather than bore you to death with every single pass of the sander and every coat of paint drying in real time, we're just gonna give you the highlights. Trust me, it was a marathon, not a sprint, but watching the progress unfold, totally worth it. The color we chose is Creamy White by Benjamin Moore, a soft, timeless shade that instantly brightens the space and gives it a fresh, clean look without feeling too sterile. But before we got here, yeah, it was all about that prep, priming, sanding, and yes, more sanding. But once everything was ready to go, I started by cutting in the edges with a brush, followed up with a roller for the larger flat areas. Now, I'll be honest, this is when I really start to miss my spray gun. Back at home, I can haul everything back to my shop and spray the doors for a buttery smooth finish. But here, working on site, is all about brush and roller. A little more labor intensive, but still incredibly rewarding. A lot of people get nervous about painting oak cabinets, especially because of that heavy grain and the risk of bleed through. But if you take the time to prep correctly and use high quality paint and primer, there's absolutely no reason to hesitate. If it's something you want to do, do it. The transformation is so worth it. While the cabinet frames were drying inside, it was finally time to move the doors and drawer fronts outside to tackle the next phase. And I think there were 29 doors and drawer fronts in all. I knew this part was going to be a little bit of a process and probably a little messy, so it felt like the perfect excuse to step outside and take advantage of that beautiful Pacific Northwest weather, because let's be real out here, it could start raining at any minute. And if you look closely, you'll spot my little shop dog for the week, Phoebe. She was the real MVP of this project, following me around, supervising my every move, and making sure I stayed on task. Honestly, I don't know how I would have managed without her. All right, let's talk about prep again, because before any paint hits these doors, there's a whole lot of work that has to happen first. Every single door, front and back, needed to be sanded down, cleaned, and primed. And there were 29 of them. Yes, 29. This part, it's tedious. It's repetitive. It's the kind of thing that makes your arms sore and your patience thin. But skipping it, not an option. There are no shortcuts when you want a finish that lasts. The upside, I got to do all of it outside, which meant I had the fresh air, birds chirping, and the occasional squirrel fighting to keep me company. And in moments like this, even the most boring tasks feel a little more bearable, maybe even peaceful. So while it might not be glamorous, this step is what sets the foundation for everything that comes next. Fast forward to the next day, and yep, you guessed it. The weather did exactly what the Pacific Northwest is famous for. Rain. So I had to bring the cabinet doors inside and keep the painting going. Not ideal, but when you're on a timeline, you adapt and keep moving. The upside, being stuck inside gave me the perfect excuse to finally tackle that red backsplash. Let's be honest, there was no way that color was staying. We decided on Alabaster by Sherwin-Williams, and it immediately softened up the space and brought everything together. So even though the rain changed the plan, it ended up pushing this project in the right direction. A little flexibility goes a long way when you're transforming a kitchen on the fly. So here we are, third and final coat on this cabinet door. And yes, I'm showing this in real time because I want you to really see just how long this actually takes. This isn't a quick slap of paint and call it good. Nope. Each door is carefully sanded between coats, then wiped down completely to remove dust and debris, making sure the surface is smooth and clean before even thinking about picking up the brush again. By the time you get to the third coat, your patience is running low, but this is where it really starts to pay off. The finish starts to even out, the coverage becomes solid, and that silky smooth feel starts to come together. It's a lot of steps, but it's the details like this that make all the difference between a rushed DIY and a professional level finish. And now for the most satisfying part, getting the doors back on and adding the hardware. Typically, I like to wait a full day or two after the final coat to reattach the cabinet doors. It gives the paint time to cure a bit and lowers the risk of scuffs or smudges. But I was on a bit of a time crunch. So we carefully moved ahead, knowing these two, my son and his wife, would be extra gentle while the paint continued to cure. No slamming, no sticky fingers, just gentle handling and patience while everything sets up properly. And once the new hardware went on, ooh, chef's kiss. It's always the finishing touch that pulls everything together. And here it is, the final reveal. From dark, dated oak to bright, fresh, and inviting. What a difference a few coats of paint can make, not just visually, but in how a space feels. This kitchen went from fine for now to finally ours, because that's the power of paint and the magic of putting in the work to make your space truly feel like home. It's not just about updating cabinets, it's about creating a space where memories will be made, dinners will be shared, and everyday life feels just a little bit brighter. Thanks for coming along for this journey from sanding and setbacks to sunshine and screwdrivers. If you found this inspiring or helpful, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's ready to take the leap and make their house a home, one brushstroke at a time.